This is D-Rock. I'm about to do a video about my top 10 horror films of all time. These are my personal opinions of movies that I've seen, out of all the horror films I've seen. So don't be commenting, some movie that I've probably never heard of or never even watched and try to tell me that's better than this, because otherwise you can go fuck yourself. Alrighty, my number 10 horror film, Jennifer's Body, starring Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried. I don't know how to say her name. I just guessed it, but her name's Needy Lesnicki in the movie, so yeah. Anyways, the movie is about Megan Fox, Jennifer, who plays Jennifer, and she gets like summoned or sacrificed to a demon by this band called Low Shoulder, which they do have a good song, by the way. That 3-3 song. That's not too bad. I actually got that on my iPod. Not shitting you. But yeah, whatever. Well, they sacrifice her, and some demon takes over her body, and she just becomes like a human cannibal, taking down people in school. She just dates them. She's about to, she's about to take the D from people. Well, half the time she's about to take the D from people, and then she ends up killing them. And if she doesn't feast on people, then she looks really ugly, which you never want Megan Fox to look ugly, even though she is a lot of plastic. Sorry, I had to say that. But yeah, overall, I'd give that movie a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next, we have Trick or Treat, which was released the last couple years or so. It's based on, it's got 5 separate stories that connect to each other. You gotta really watch the movie, because I can't really review, give a full review on it, because all the stories are different, but you gotta connect them together. There's said 5 again. 5 of them. I really don't know how to really describe this movie, but you have to watch it, because it's great. It's not the best, but it is a pretty good movie if you're good at figuring shit out. I gave it sadly, I'm gonna agree with my friend on this one. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 on my ratings list. Next on the list, I have Wrong Turn series. That was number 4, Bloody Beginnings. But if any of you haven't heard of it, it's about inbred hillbilly cannibals. There are 5 films out there. I've seen every single one. The 5th one I haven't seen on Blu-ray or DVD yet, but it's called Wrong Turn 5 Bloodlines. I've rented it on Amazon Instant Video on PlayStation. Yeah, be jealous. But anyways, it's mostly about people that get lost in the woods, get killed, eaten, fucked, then they have more deformed children that continue their work. But anyways, get off that topic. I rate this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next on the list we have here is the Scream series. Well, I don't have the next 6-7 DVD or movies I'm talking about. I don't have them on me, so I can't really show you the covers at all. Anyways, to summarize it, I know all of you have probably seen the ghost face Halloween costumes, because there's a shit ton of kids that are them every single year. I used to be one myself when I used to trick or treat. The old years. Anyway, as I was saying, it's mostly about a guy dressed as Ghostface, and he just kills people over the phone, and he kind of goes after some babysitters and first couple, I think. I haven't seen him in a while, so it's kind of blurry. But anyways, yeah, that movie was... Actually, here's a fact from it. I have the first one, and it's been special features. Not shitting you. After that movie came out, 93% of America got caller ID because of this movie. That's how freaked out people were, because Wes Craven is just a horror genius. We'll just leave it at that. Anyways, I give Scream... I give it a 4.5 out of 5, because, they always kept me hooked. It never was okay, this movie's boring. It has some boring parts, but not a lot of them. It's mostly action. But, yeah, I give it a solid 4 out of 5. Chucky, also known as Charles Lee Ray. Let's just say, kids, if you would show your kids this movie, they'd definitely be creeped out from their dolls if it was possessed. Well, if they didn't know it was possessed, but it was actually serial killers soul possessing it. which basically summarizes the whole entire series. It's about a guy, if you see the first one, you see Charles Lee Ray die, also known as Chucky, which is everybody called him by. He transfers his soul into a doll, a good guy doll, and tries, he tries getting his soul out of the doll by saying some chant because he's into like voodoo shit. I don't know. If you watch the first one, it'll sum up like actually the whole entire series for you. There's like 5 movies, but the first 3 Child's Play movies, those were the best. Bride of Chucky, it was and the Seed of Chucky was flushed down the toilet. But I've heard recently that they might reboot the Child's Play series, maybe start making them again. But anyways, Chucky tries to take over this little kid Andy's soul, like through the first 3, and then after that, that's all you need to know for the first 3 because he just goes after Andy. But anyways, I give this movie, I'm actually going to rate it lower than actually the ones I've had so far. I'm going to put it back down to a 4. But I mean, overall, I give it a 4 because some of like the movie when you watch a movie, there's parts that are just like, yeah. Anyways, so I was saying, I give this one a 4 just because some of the more parts of the film, you got to mostly make it to the middle to the end to get your action. We have number 5 on our list. We have the Evil Dead series, the first 3 originals: Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. They all star Bruce Campbell, but they're all also like they're comedy horrors. The first 2 are more comedy horror. The third one, has some of your comedy in it. But anyways, I give this series this is a must-watch series. I know they recently remade. I seen that one yesterday, but anyways, going back to the originals, it's about a book. It's about a book called Book of the Dead that mostly that brings demons back from hell to possess people, and you gotta the first 3 actually don't have to deal with like the remake at all, which you have to in the remake you have to have 5 people die or sacrifice themselves in order to get the devil pleased or whatever the hell you want to call it. But in the first 3, it's just mostly they're in a cabin. Somebody reads a passage to release the demons, and then you have you just have people one by one getting infected, fucking killing people. I mean, it's really messed up. But you gotta watch it because keeps you hooked by the comedy parts in the film by Bruce Campbell. Also, his character name is Ash, which is a pretty kick-ass name. And you can't forget the chainsaw. Definitely watch it because the chainsaw that he tapes to his hand, man. That's going to be the greatest scene you'll ever see in a movie. Next we have Friday the 13th series. I will say that they did overmake them. They made too many of them. But I got to say, I was hooked mostly the first 5. First 5 did it for me, and then I really kind of didn't watch them anymore. But they remade a Freddy vs. Jason, which I will consider the Friday the 13th series, which I will consider that. And what it mostly is a kid drowns named Jason Voorhees. He's deformed. And the first one, it's his, sorry, spoiler alert, it's his mother killing for him, and she's absolutely crazy in the head. You have to watch it to see this. But she thinks that he's talking to him, and she says some crazy stuff. But anyways, and then Jason is back for like 2 through the rest of them. And yeah, let's just say he's indestructible. That's why they made so many of them. Anyways, I give it a Friday the 13th, since all 80s horror movies were pretty much way better than today's modern day horrors. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Number 3, we have the Halloween series. Michael Myers, the famous babysitter slasher. Anyways, I know I talked more about Scream About Babysitters, but that's like, that was long ago, and that was like maybe like the first movie. I kind of lied a little bit about that. But anyways, Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis, first 2 movies, the Scream Queen as they call her. That's at least what I've heard. Anyways, get to it. Basically, a guy that comes back to his town every Halloween and kills just random teenagers. Kills them partying. I have no idea why he just kills them. He just comes back. There's really no plot to it. He just comes back and just kills people that I think live in his house. And I give all of them, well, they made actually quite a bit side ones. They made the first 5 and they made like 2 or 3 like off movies, like just side movies. But I'm gonna give this series, I give this series a 5 because I mean everybody was, you know, freaked out by, you know, who's coming on Halloween. You know, you never know who's gonna show up at your doorstep or who's gonna break in, because Halloween, you know, spookiest holiday of the year. Anyways, yeah, I give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. Number 2 on the list, Nightmare on Elm Street, the originals, not the remake. The remake was alright. But anyways, the originals with Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Those movies were horror as long as comedy, just like Evil Dead. But I definitely go with the Nightmare on Elm Street movies over the Evil Dead because Robert Englund is just, he is balls out funny on those movies. Not kidding you. And he's scary because just look at him. He's burned to shit. Anyways, the main plot of these movies is a guy, Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund, comes back for kids in their sleep while they're dreaming, which I don't know how it can happen, but apparently, you know, it's movies, so anything can happen in a movie. But it's mostly because he was actually a child. He was a child molester, I believe. Yeah, he was like some childhood molester. He'd molest the kids, and then he would end up killing them, and the parents ended up burning him in his office. They threw like Molotov cocktails and just burned him with torches and shit like that. But anyways, I give this series definitely 5 out of 5 because I mean, you can't beat Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, that shit was scary, man. Finally, number 1, drumroll please, the Saw series. Don't care what any of you think. I really don't care. These have kept me hooked. These have kept me hooked ever since the first one. Even though the first one was kind of bad, but after the first one, every movie, gotta see them. Anyways, summary is about Jigsaw. It's about Jigsaw. Guy, he just takes people to traps. They get, you know, they live or die, make your choice. Famous quote from the movie. But it's mostly about him taking people that take life for granted, and they're gonna have to sacrifice something like one lady cuts her arm off. She had to sacrifice her arm because they had to give up the most meat on their body, or the next person gets fucking drills in their head and they die. But yeah, that was a spoiler alert, but who cares? Anyways, I give this series a 5 out of definitely a 5 out of 5 because my favorite movies of all time. You can beat them, but I mean, they're very hard to beat in my opinion. So don't be commenting and filling my shit up being like, dude, Saw's a crappy series or anything, because I don't care what your opinion is. These are my opinions, and if you don't like them, I don't really care.